Gatsby's is the one surging home on the outside, and quickly Gatsby's race clear in the Rosebud. It's all over. Good battle for the Miners. High Octane late with clear proof. Gatsby's E down different class.
Welcome to Bet Doctor. Behind the curtain, look at how pro punters operate. I'm your host Scoot. I've got Johnny Walter, big balls here next to me.
I won't tell anyone this is take 3, mate. You're struggling with English so far today, but we'll see how we go.
Somehow battling a head cold. Daycare germs win again. How are you down in Melbourne town, DK?
Pretty good down here, Scoot. Got my old mate Nico back with his swollen Onka Paringa. Hope it's going to be all right there, Nico. No, another quiet week in racing. Nothing's happened, has it? Probably Black Caviar hit the deck and that. Well, we've got a new CEO. We've got a new CEO, so a bit to talk about. Nico, how is the finger? You're here, so that's the main thing.
Yeah, I'm here. It's still not 100%, so we're still on the mend a bit, but going better than this time last week, that's for sure. But like you said, plenty of news around. Feels like we've already done a show before the show
right.
so far. We've been through a few topics, so maybe this is the PG version.
Nico's learned his lesson. He's out doing the gardening, and the same spider that bit Jimmy the horse has bitten Nico's finger. So hopefully he's on the mend. I'm surprised Nico hasn't got the Carlton shirt on after the Blues have pulled themselves out of the wreck, thanks to Paddy Cripps. So they got a sneaky backdoor cover there if they can get a couple of their forwards back. But as you say, boys, yes, big week. Black Caviar first. I remember back in my day in the bookie world, you just used to see punters just jump from the trees. That people that you'd never heard of, never seen, 2, 5, 10,000, 20,000, 50,000. They just chime into Black Caviar, open up a brand new account, and just jam the bookies at $1.04, $1.05, $1.10, $1.20, whatever that we were stupid enough to put up. And when we did our end-of-year budgets, you could actually see the weeks where she ran, and it was a massive dip because we just kept laying her and you just kept pulled your pants down.
And it was in the time of the tote kickouts too, when they used to jam the old percentage down to 100 or whatever on those races. And every horse, except for Winx, obviously, probably at some point, the bookies just keep laying it waiting, don't they? And you always get your day. And she was the one that never got it. So, she was a genuine bookie killer.
Some of the bigger punters are having $1 million. I remember I was at Sportsbet then, and they have $1 million on it, and $500,000, and this and that. Some of the big guys, they just tune in for one bet, and she was. That was a big night. That was a big night when she won it. I think you remember where you were when she won it down the straight at Ascot. We were at the casino watching it in it might have been the Mahogany Room or something. I reckon we were after the races or something one night.
Of course.
But anyway,
what'd she start that night?
She got soft that night. They knew she got soft. Remember? I think because she got fizzed up in the yard, did she, or something like that, or
there was nothing like that.
Yeah, you got $1.25 or $1.30 that night. I reckon, didn't you, Scoot?
Yeah, I think we did a promo betting evens back at the Scanders, and I think she even got bigger than that. We'll have to dig it out, or someone will tweet it in. Someone will remember better than us, but I think she might have got to $1.40, even $1.50 on the exchange. So I reckon she blew right out in betting. But it is, you're right, DK. It's a pivotal moment, isn't it? It's like, where were you when Princess died? Where were you watching Black Caviar win in England? Definitely a big moment. So, she was a dominant force there for a
everything
while.
with Trumpy dropping the hands and all that. Giving everyone a heart attack, bloody hell.
Yeah, amazing. And it was just fascinating to hear Moonee say how many niggles and injuries, and a great training effort, really, just to get her across the line. And there was a dubious one the day that they moved a horse from a different barrier at Moonee Valley, but I guess there's always controversy around something.
SP's 114, 103, 110, 116, 105, 105, 110, 105, 102, 105, 105, 107, 114.
And these days you'd say, well, no, maximum because it's too short. Then people just threw as much as they could on it. Whatever they had, they'd turn up at the races with all their cash, try and get another roll of the board out of the bookies. So I'll have 20,000 on it if you give me $1.14 or something. And and then on the blokes blasting away in the shops. It was just huge.
$1.90 in the Patinack was the closest she got to evens.
Was that when Haylist that time? Haylist chasing her?
That was Star Witness run second there, and she beat Quassa in 1,000 at Flemington in a 2-year-old handicap. Was the last time she was black odds, $2.40. Holy cow! That was
extraordinary.
April.
Times.
What is it? Was that her first start? No.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
it was. That was her first start. The only time she ever started black odds.
Jay
Is that
Noski,
correct? It looks like it is.
Yeah, that would be the way.
That's unbelievable.
Trivia question there, and most racing trivia nights. Who wrote it? Jay Noski. was over from Perth riding for Moonee at the time.
I think harness racing need a Black Caviar or a Winx story. They've just announced a $24 million loss, and it's a bit of rabble there. Some industry figures are trying to get together to figure out how they can save the sport, but the horse may have bolted there. So
Harness
racing, yeah.
At least they got Arrow Park to sell in New South Wales, so we're still sweet there.
Yeah.
They got the war chest.
Reading the article, are they selling Melton? Is that what they're going to do?
They've borrowed against it, haven't they? They thought it was like an asset they'll have. There was a $100 million asset. Apparently they've borrowed 3/4 of that to keep going. So they're trying to, I don't know what they're going to do there. Hasn't kicked on since they moved out there, has it?
Bad run of administration, and that's why we are so vocal about it, I guess. And that leads us into our next topic with Aaron Morrison, now announced CEO of Racing Victoria. So interesting, the CEO and now CEO has been appointed from within. So they must think they're doing not a bad job at RV. And he's been pretty active, I guess, through the media circles, which is probably no surprise. And the first thing I noticed is his language is completely different from Andrew Jones. So he's a quick learner in that respect. He's coming out saying how united he wants to be. He's talking about doing industry forums, so he wants to get people together. So I assume it's going to be open to trainers, jockeys, I'd say bookmakers. Heaven forbid we might see one of the first ever punters forum. So it'd be a welcome change to get some punters in front of him, and be good to see someone like you there, DK, and anyone that would make himself available, because I think there's a lot of good ideas from a lot of punters that have been in the game quite some time and been and seen lots of different sides of it. But he was pretty good.
Before you go on there, Scoot, the one time I have met him was online in a mini forum with Richie and Kingsley, and we were online. It might have been during COVID or before COVID, and he was there with another. I can't remember who else from RV was. Someone in charge of wagering, Morrison, and then there's 4 or 5 of us online talking about all the different issues and what like that. So. I think he's got a very good understanding of the wagerings, Scoot. So that is a tick. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, and he was quick to jump in and say that prize money's increased in the last 8 years by 140 to 150 million. And as I've sort of touched upon in the past, that's been driven largely by the war for eyeballs between New South Wales and Victoria once they shut down TVN, and the growth in that prize money's been 80 to 90%. And that's Aaron's words, not mine. But I knew the figures were quite inflated. I also like to hear that he's saying that he's going to shift top-end prize money down to maiden levels. I think that's a smart thing to do. But yeah, I guess I'll sort of believe it when I see it. And I think I tweeted back in May that there was still some work to do with the increase in July in POC tax. It's gone from 10 to 15%. So there's a bigger war chest there. So they're going to have to try and wrestle some of that money back. And their race fields is what they need to try and correct, because at the moment, these middle tier operators, anyone outside, say, the top 6 to 8 bookmakers, they're actually really battling at the moment, and they're crippling. They can't grow, they can't offer good prices, and they're really struggling. So I think that's where he needs to make the change in racefields legislation, and hopefully give the bookies who promote the game heavily a bit of a chance that they can try and grow their turnover, because at the moment, if they try and take bigger bets or take punters on, they sort of get it both ways. If they lose, they have to pay out to the punter, and then if they win, they pay excess taxes. So the flat fee structure is what I'm hearing is the best way to go, and that's something that Racing Queensland is operating under, and even New South Wales is a better model compared to what's happening in Victoria. So that's the labour pains that I hear from the medium to small operators, and some of these on-track bookies that have picked up platforms with your bet makers and a couple of other operators. They're still really feeling the pinch. So if he can move swiftly, I'll be a big fan of him, a big believer. But he has been in the chair for, the last 7 years. He's been there a long time. So once he starts swinging that and making big changes, I'll be completely on board. But I'll be disappointed if it's just much of the same. What do you think, Walt? Because there's been I've seen tweets in the last week. Matt Lepard's been talking about the tab sitting there at 140 or 50% with only 10 minutes to go in the harness. I saw a message from Kingsley in the Wolf Den app There was 2 horses sitting at like about 125% in provincial New South Wales on Sunday, and said the game's absolutely cactus here. How long is this going to go on for? So while they've never had more money, the betting markets, as we say, are quite stifling, and it's paralysing at the moment to try and turn over money if you're not a gilt-edged client.
Yeah, if you like liken it to the favourite word of the ecosystem, and you say it's like a big pond, and they've driven a lot of species of fish, which that's kind of us, out of the pond. The ones left are the recreationals, for a better term, for the most part, and they're just overfishing it so hard. And it's hard to sort of attract us back in, give everyone a place to play and feed, and then it's got to be more sustainable. That's, to me, it's all just one. It's ecosystem sustainable. It's at the moment it's not. Whether that's Betfair, whether it's working with the corporates to find out how they can produce products that are available to everyone that can sort of get the money flowing a little bit more, rather than at the moment, which is just it's just they've got the nets out like the Japanese slaughtering whales at the moment. It's not pretty, and it just can't last. That's the problem. Like, if as a person who loves racing for everybody, at the moment I can't see how medium to small trainers survive it. I can't see how people like us who want to survive off the betting side of it survive. So how does the whole game sustain itself? I don't see it. So I hope there are some big changes, but it's not a role you'd love to take. So he's got to have a big set of nuts to jump in there and have a crack, and hopefully he does.
DK and Nico?
I think I'm keen for him to have a crack, Scoot. I think you hope that he moves swiftly. I think the fact that he's been there and he's already there, doesn't need any settling in time. He can get the whips cracking straight away. He obviously showed that with moving on Matty Welsh, which I thought Matt was pretty stiff there. I'd like to see who else he's going to put into his shoes. I mean, Matt's a punter, got experience at the caper. That's the beauty. I mean, we've learnt this, that Andrew Jones wasn't a racing person, so it didn't work. You've got to have racing people who understand racing and wagering in these jobs. Okay? Jason Scott understands it up in Queensland. Aaron Morrison understands it. Matt Welsh understands it. You get non-racing people in, it's a shit show, So I'd like to, it'd be interesting to see how they replace someone who's got a better understanding of wagering and racing than Matt in there. So that'll be interesting to me. But yeah, he knows the wagering side. The other thing is, it's things I don't expect. POC tax. The government is completely broke down here. They're broke. My missus works in the public service, and they're trying to. Her boss has called her in this week. Right, we've got to find another 10 million in savings across all these departments. Okay, the government's going to be looking at where can we get more money on POC tax. Okay, don't worry. I don't think it'll be sitting at 15 for too long. The government's cast, so that'd be another consideration. But anyway, Nico. But I think no, he's the right man for the job, so I'll back him in.
My brief dealings with him, he seems like he's across a lot of things. Obviously, he's got the wagering background, and then the one time I met him at Warrnambool, he was talking to me about a few horses that he owns that were, just sort of restricted battlers. So he seems like he's across a fair few fronts, and as someone that my whole family is dependent on horse racing in a lot of different facets of it. You just hope that, say, in 25 years we're in a good spot, and changes that are implemented now, changes that happened 20 years ago put us in the position we're in now. We're hoping that they can sort of keep going. We don't end up in a situation where harness racing is just seemingly going to die. Like, I just cannot see a future for harness racing from everything we're hearing. I just hope racing's not in that spot in 20 years, and it's going to be the people who are in charge now that sort of have the impact, isn't it?
And I think we keep saying it's tipping point. We've been saying it for months, even 12 months, tipping point. So hopefully I think he understands that himself, and he's got some ideas, and he would have preached them in his interviews and things like that. So, so that's I think it's pretty positive from down here, Scoot.
We just hope it, because New South Wales, everyone, whether it's a product of this Rosehill thing or not, everyone sort of feels a bit suppressed, don't they? So it'd be lovely just to have that, like your open forum where everyone gets to put their hand up and voice and table their issues and at least have the feeling that they're being looked at, that everyone's aware of them, because most of us, even like we feel like we're talking to ourselves a lot of the time, right? Because you never hear things we talk about pretty much anywhere else. So you feel like you're maybe either going crazy or in the dark, and everyone will be feeling the same way. And that could be jockeys, wanting better facilities to, train up their apprentices, whatever it is, medium to small trainers needing better support and voicing their opinions. It doesn't matter who it is, but everyone hopefully gets a say, and at least they get some progress.
Well, that's the reason it feels like we're talking to ourselves is because, you have these conferences. There's one around the corner in September called Backing the Punt, and there's no punters that get represented. Like the punters are the funders, and we're always
because
the
we're
last.
not punters in the eyes of the PRAs for the most part. We're not. We're not. The punters are the guys who are sitting at home on the couch and losing their $50, $100 a week, or the whales that can sustain losses somehow until they can't. And I don't think you can really rely on either of those bodies to carry us forward 25 years. Like Nico's saying, maybe during COVID or whatever, they got that false look. These POC taxes, like DK says, then it's going to be near impossible to roll them back.
Yeah.
But we have to sort of, like you said, work with your Tristans, your medium tiers to work out what can sustain bookmakers and open it back up where pricing is the competition more than promos and incentives.
Yeah, Nico's got a good point there. Like his family, like he does wagering, like buying, selling, training. Like his whole life's tied to it. Yeah. DK, yourself, you've got your own business. I've got my business here, and I start to scratch my head. I've been beating my head against the wall with Racing Victoria and been promised a lot of things. Nothing's been delivered for the last sort of 4 years. I'm trying to promote their product. And for me, I start to question whether I should invest my time and my business interests in other fields.
Well,
like, what should
yeah.
I do? I should maybe go off and find something else to do. And I think we are at that juncture in time. And if we don't get some positive news out of RV, which are a big pillar in the racing game, because New South Wales is a closed shop, I have to seriously consider what my next move is. Because I'm stupid.
And you do
otherwise.
start to look how far down the line.
Yeah.
Even if you get something over the line, there's I think DK's nearly on the unders there. I think the tipping point we've been talking about it feels like 12 months, but it's probably been 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, I can't remember.
And it seems to be drawing closer and closer to the end of the tunnel. And I know they've got. It's when you see how much money everything costs to run. Like big numbers, 5, 6 million, 100 million. 600 million, $1 billion either side, whether it's New South Wales or Victoria in income, but they're still struggling to operate with that level. So if it does have a major dip, what happens? And this is whilst all you're doing is getting complaints from participants that, facility, not in Victoria, in New South Wales, facilities are run down, loss of meetings, everyone's under pressure. So
there's big holes,
scary.
and you just got to try and figure out where it is.
Yeah, and whether that's, mass culls of overheads, or whether that be training facility, like tightening the belt. If you got to do it, you got to do it.
Yeah, fascinating. Anyway, so good luck to Aaron Morrison, and hopefully we can get some industry forums cranking up and a lot of the labour pains and the problems get solved, because, that is a big problem that you've touched on, DK. Victorian government in all sorts, and I don't think many governments in Australia are doing quite well off the back of COVID, and they're spending there. So that wrestle for the POC tax is going to be a darn big fight. Let's look at this Saturday, and let's try and find everyone a winner. Today's show with a quick look in the rearview mirror as well. Donny last week, the heavy truck sunk Miss Middle Park, but the story of that race was Tranquil Bay. It was an absolute moral beaten. Noel Kello was driving up the fence. It was off the map. It was like a one-goer, that
Scoot.
one.
Really, thanks for that. Thanks
$8.
for bringing that back up.
$8 into $3.50, got beat. But, it was, you might have saved a couple of punters last week, you boys, because, the heavy track might have called a couple of punters. Nico's got Death Valley, Money Valley, Construction Valley this Saturday. I know he loves that one. And then you've got plenty of cash after Gatsby, gave him Winburn last week. So had some direct feedback and a few people sliding in the DM saying, thank you, Johnny Boy, for that one. It was an absolute sit and steer for J-Mac.
I'm still sitting there shaking my head with the price. It was still a one I'll never get over. It was probably an opportunity missed where me with a bit more confidence a few years ago would have kept betting till my ass bled. But when you're sitting there wallop J-Mac now and they're sort of not firming and you can't see why, geez, it's hard to push through that mental barrier.
Maybe the market's just a bit aware of it. They're sitting at 130% or 126, and maybe the horse is just getting out to like a truer price before the bigger players sort of step in and get their money down. But sometimes the drift isn't a bad thing, and it's just a bit of percentage coming out of the market. Big Tom Kitten, he's purring, he's got no nuts, but he's racing like a man possessed.
Didn't miss him.
Yeah,
Didn't miss
J-Mac again.
Big Tom, holy cow.
A beautiful result there. Summer night was winter hell for DK last week, but Mouthguard back in, and you're going back to Geelong.
Oh, well, I was when you saw sort of on the run sheet, and then I thought, well, still, I mean, for the early shoppers, who listen very quickly, Pepperdine straight to the front, little away at Rocky. And
yes.
Arkansas Kid tipped it. It got the chockies, and we were stiff with pinstripe Scoot. It was a bit of a horror watch, so it was shot pretty straight except for the rotten synthetics. So, yeah.
Oh, don't worry. What about the other one? The Mighty Pepper, and the other one won too for the stable double.
Let Me Let Go.
Let Me Let Go.
What a marvel is that being that horse. So, yeah, no, that big day for the J Wheelo team.
You got the bonus of beating my last horse in my colours on the line too, with Let Me Let Go at jammed as well. So you got the double win there.
Oh, was it? Oh, yours was the other horse, the leader.
Courtesy Bus. He's the last one. He's the last one in the Batman colours. But anyway, no, it's good. Good. Jared's had he was a bit stiff the other day. He had like a 7-leg multi with a 2s on chance. It traded $1.10 in the run. He got 6 out of 7 for $110,000 to $100. I wouldn't mind his account.
Outstanding. Nico, I couldn't get the job done with pinstripes. I'm going to retreat back up to Doomben to try and find a moral there. TopSport Steam, they went good. 2 from 4 last week, Autumn Glow and Kazoo. And then they had pinstriped as well. And they had another placing as well that I can't quite recall. But they shot straight for the first time in quite a while. TopSport's our major sponsor. Make sure you support them. They are a middle-tier bookie, and they're Australian-owned, operated up here at the Gold Coast, and they do a great job. So they still bet top fluck, and they're pushing very, very hard to offer as many products as possible and work as best they can to get everyone in. There's a fly or a bee just come into the studio, attracted to Walt, obviously, because I don't see...
Man, it could be a small bird. Look at the size of that thing.
From your wallet, but hopefully we can evade that. But
could be a PVL drone.
Could be a little camera. If it was on at the start of the show or pre-camera, we're all absolutely cactus. We're all gone. You'll never see us talk about racing ever again. But make sure you support topsport.com.au this week and give them a go, and make sure you get that Aussie bookmaker up and flying. Geelong, race 4 Friday. You love this, DK. You're a sucker for punishment. But let's have a look at the market here, and no doubt I've lost my screen here, so I can't find the race. But She's a Hustler is the favourite. Beggy and Jordan Childs, barrier 9, $2.20. Polish Power, $4. Lady Avenger, $7.50 into $4.60 is a good go. Alicent, $5.50. Miss Pepia is $16, and Zafir Steel, $20. I nearly call it Polish Power. The second horse there, but She's a Hustler is the horse that you like here from a jump out. Beggy, it's having its second ever start.
It's purple colours here, so G Beg and Jay Charles are fresh in my mind from bombing me at Geelong here when I tipped Happy Link here the other week. So this is in the purple here. This horse is from New Zealand. So had one go in New Zealand, mare, ran good there in New Zealand. It's come over here, same owners, with a few extra owners in, so not sure what deal they've done here, but obviously bringing her over for the spring. Got a turn of foot, raw, looks to have good talent. The trial, this is the second trial, so it's hitting the lead there. First trial, trialled alongside Happy Link, so there was a line up there that both went to the line with Happy Link, and even though Happy Link got beat by Zlotties, still went good, still beat the rest 4 links and still went well. So, so I think G-Beg, fresh, 1,500. I mean, there's a 1,500 fillies and mares. I think he would have set it for this race. It looks a terrific race to kick it off in. So I thought Jay Childs goes on, gate 9. I think it was handy in both trials. I think he probably fared pretty handy here. Doesn't look much speed on paper. I think he'll bounce and try and get some cover, one or two pairs back on the outside. I like it's drawn out a bit of room. It's a little bit green inside horses there, so it comes zooming down the middle at Geelong. The second thing here, the second one in the market here, Polish Power, should be like, I don't know, 25 to 1 off its trials, like the totally inconclusive trials, and yet it looks like a bit of a tip in the early market. Munns owns it, trained by Friedman's, I think, draws 12. You'd think it'd go back, being first start at 1,500, but that's off its trials. But so Munns, Rocket Douglas, Munns has got horses with G-Bag. I mean, this will work it out late, so if I'd be holding off and waiting late here, especially because She's a Hustler's first up, so you probably want to get the tick from the yard assessors too, but G-Bag horses, she 1,500 first up, she's going to be fit. So I just, if there's any good market confidence late and Polish Power sort of goes the other way, I'd be very confident in it. Alicent is a map horse, but it's pretty one-paced. I'd expect She's a Hustler to round it up if it's within 2 or 3 links of it on the turn, and Lady Avenger, Lady Avengers on the coming off the synthetic was scratched there last week. She's a bit one-paced as well. She'll win a mile maiden somewhere, but no, I think She's a Hustler can kick off her spring prep here, Scoot, and probably aim to some better stuff than this.
Nico, do you know anything about the CMR runner, or you got any thoughts here?
No, I did see it was purchased for $400,000 at a yearling sale, so that's probably why they've kept it going as a 4-year-old mare. But I looked at the race at acceptance time and thought, gee, this is a race that's pretty weak, and the 2 horses I didn't know were a 1-2 in the betting. So yeah, DK's obviously shown us the jump out there, and she looks pretty smart, and the race opposition do look pretty average. That was my first take on the race, so they haven't missed her at 220, but looks like she just could be over the line.
Ace high mare, so she's going to love every bit of the 1,500 and even more.
Just saying that.
Yeah. Not many of them get around.
Just making sure it wasn't Polish Power, but breeding Polska, the mare Polska, obviously it is Polish.
Not Polish.
Given the benefit of the doubt.
Leave that one there. Let's head towards the Valley on Saturday. There's a little bit of rain around, but it's not going to be dreadful, or it's not going to be as wet as it was in Adelaide last week. And Nico's made a little bit of adjustment to the run sheet. He wants us to talk about Moonee Valley Race 1 because Thinking Fly's in there and he wants to give it 10 minutes. So
can we say it's a 2,000 metre plus race, is it?
2,500 metres.
Oh, beautiful. Nico's back.
Yeah, so the Moonee Valley should suit it. It's got Teo on it. It's got Barrier 1. I'll go straight to the front, $8.50. Looks a bit cramped, I'd say. You got to get a bit better price than that.
Yeah, you might get better late. They might back Dashing Duchess, but go the Fly. Hopefully we can get one on the board. It'd be good. He's been a marvel, Thinking Fly. And a lot of rocks in as well on Saturday at Morphettville. So I've taken the double. I think it was 44s, and I thought that is complete unders, but I've still taken the double. It's probably about 200 to 1 for both of them to lob, but hopefully it's a good day.
On over 1,100 to 2,500. Is that a barrier trial? This gentleman looking at the tab thing, it's the stupidest app in the world that it includes trials in their win distance record. Kills me.
No, that's why I use topsport.com.au. So mad if you don't. All right, let's get more serious here and let's have a look at the big race of the day. It's the Carlyon Stakes, obviously. It's race 8 at Moonee Valley. It's a 1,000-metre race. Warnington Glory is a favourite here, $2.70. Bold Bastille, $3. Sands Doot, $6. Golden Boom, $7.50. Ashford Street, $15. Skadira, $15. Acromantula is $20. And then you got Griff there first up at $21, which is an interesting inclusion there. Thoughts here, Nico?
Yeah, my whole thought process on the 2 tips today were that I thought both could start favourite, and they both nearly are favourite now. So Mornington Glory's been well backed in the early markets. He looked outstanding in the yard for this race, but I think it was due to his opposition. Acromantula definitely needed the run. Skadiria's not much chop, and then the others had a few knocks from the yard. So he probably just looked that good by default, but this was a huge win. Track and distance, he might not get it as easy on Saturday where he just lobbed one out, one back there and had no opposition, but the horse had a really good jump out, like absolutely flew in the jump out prior to the Monash, I think it was. And then he didn't handle the wet track. And then he come back, they obviously kept him in good order since then. And big win there. If he replicates that sort of figure here, it's a clear best last start figure in the race. And the danger, I've got her wrong more often than not, but I just don't have much of an opinion of Bold Bastille.
Does that start with the size of her, the yard, and that, Nico? She's only small, isn't she?
She's small. She's not the best walker. She's quite professional, but I think that's what you see in her races, isn't it? She puts herself on the speed, so that's definitely something she has that attribute where she'll go forward here, but the pace,
she'll have some company.
Acromantula has had a jump out since that run, so he'll be improved. Golden Boom's fast out of the gates. Shershov's a 955 horse. Skadiria's drawn 1. D Bates on might just boot right up. She's drawn 6, and she probably I think she should get in better than 50.5 kilos under the weight scale at this time of the year. So I thought she should be getting in something I read with more like 48 kilos. So it's obviously some sort of knock as well. So it's her first start as a 3-year-old filly. She raced in some good company. She beat Drifting last campaign, which is some sort of tick, but she only won the Quezette. So it's not like it's a huge franking of the form. So, yeah, I thought she was a bit of a risk here at the early price, and I thought Mornington Glory was the clear danger. I think one of them will probably win. Sans Doubt's probably the other one that's in play, but she did take a fair while to hit her straps last campaign.
Into the prep.
Yeah, so
she might be a fair way off from here.
Yeah, she'll be back in the field. If they overdo it, she might have that sort of Imperatriz run where she won the McEwen, where she was out the back and flying home late. You'd probably look for something similar here with her. But I think if all things are equal, Mornington Glory probably lands 2 or 3 pairs back, one off the fence, and if the track's fair, and he replicates what he did last start, I think he'd be pretty hard to beat. So
that was the only boy. I think, where is he going to land from that gate? Because he's won his 2 wins at Moonee Valley. He's landed in the 1-1 both times at the beautiful runs. Now he's drawn 9, but they're going to burn. You know,
that was my thing. A few of them might just fall over in front of him.
That's what they did. You know, they stopped like shot ducks, Ackerman, Draw, and Scuderia the other day, didn't they? So Bold Best still jury's out on it with me. Is it a speedy? You know, when it had the monorail when it won at Cox Plate Day, it was on debut, beat Hayasugi. You know, speedy, but geez, it's going to have some company here, so very interesting.
Yeah, I think that I thought she was a risk early when she went up favourite, and I'm not surprised at all to see Mornington Glory's been backed into favourite. That was sort of how I had the read on the race, that the market could really come for him with the big last start track and distance figure.
Yeah, and look, Mornington Glory, like, he's an amazing horse that he came back, you know. Like a mates who got shares in it, and so, you know, there was going to be best horse nearly Matt Laurie, one of the best horses Matt Laurie have had starting off. We all backed it in its maiden, and then it sort of had issues, retired, come back, you know, and now I think it's second prep for Gav. You know, he might have got it going because he's always a big rap on it, Gav. Always had a big rap on it.
I think Golden Boom, I had that horse sort of last preparation. I had it dead. I thought it was completely gone. So that's a strange placement there with Blake Shin at $7.50. I'm not sure.
And you could throw it into the speed as well, because it likes to get right forward in its races, and you doubt B Shin's going to be handing up from 2. So it just could be all guns blazing the first 100 metres here, which probably does suit Mornington Glory just to come back, take a sit, and if the track is fair, he's just got the right run.
I tend to agree. And then Griff will probably just be there for a barrow trial.
Check, you won't run in that. It can't run in a 1,000-metre race. It'll go to Sydney, surely.
Yeah, it'll scratch. All right, on the money there, Nico. So not much opposition there. So Moonee Valley Race 8, number 5, Mornington Glory, one of your best. And the next one we're going to have a look at is the last. So you got the quaddie leg almost sorted here. Moonee Valley Race 9. It's Ray Koki, $3.50 favourite. Extra 2, $5.50 into $3.90. Pioneer River $9.50. Home Rule $10. Why Worry $10. Prowling $11. Veloci Caro $14. And Along the River, same quote there at $14. Extra 2 is the market mover. And it's the one that you like, Nico.
Yeah, I think the market's just correcting itself here. She's been well backed. This was first up. She would take some improvement from this run, I thought, from the yard. She's a mare that I've seen plenty of times, and I just thought she'd take some improvement from this run. She ran the fastest last 200 metres of this race. She was held up there on the bend, got out late, flew home, but the race was sort of off and gone. I don't think this is the strongest form race, but I just think factoring in natural improvement, a big jockey change with B Shin going aboard here, and her with that natural improvement, one of her best wins come here at Moonee Valley over 1,200 metres. The barrier's a little bit sticky, but I think with B Shin, you just back him in. He's going to get it right. You see time and time again when you question where his horse is going to end up in the run, they end up where they should, just one out, one back, or outside the lead. I sort of thought he might be 2 pairs back, potentially following Ray Koki, who's drawn in 10, so there's a fair chance if he jumps well, he can get right on the back of what looks to be the danger. But again, he's another horse I'm a little bit suspect on. He has jumped out really well this campaign. The Price Kent horses, you definitely do want to back them fresh over deep into the campaign. His win in the, the Sedative was quite strong. That wasn't the deepest form race, and it was, on the day, it was a good spot to be up there and leading where he was. If he replicates that figure here, he's going to be right in play, but it's probably a question mark of how real that is, if just everything went his way that day, and that's maybe not a true reflection of his ability. Suitable kickoff, they haven't aimed too high for him, but I just thought extra 2 with a few things in her favour here, the fitness improvement and the jockey change. I thought at 550 versus 340, they were way too far apart, and now they're 380 versus 340, and the way the market's trending, extra 2 might even start favourite with Bishin and Seamar. So, yeah, with her, I think she was a really good bet at 550, and the market's got it right now.
Prowling, B. Egan, looks like a good booking there, gets a decent gate. I thought he was a pass mark first up behind Mautai and Midtown Boss and all those horses.
Yeah, he was a pass mark. His best would see him in play here, but yeah, his last few runs of, they're pass marks, so he's had excuses. You just love to see him put in a real good performance to be steaming into him. There's a few horses similar to him here that this is probably their level, whereas Extra 2 and Ray Koki, if they can keep improving, which it looks like they will, they're probably a much better grade than this.
Outstanding stuff. Nothing more to add, DK?
I can't have much more. No, I had a good look at Rakoki, but he's similar to, I had one of those first two races leading and had favours and then copped some pressure in that race down the straight. And I think extra two, it's just so reliable. And your big jockey change, with the run under the belt, you'd think Shin would be more proactive, get more forward. And against Rakoki, who, again, copping some pressure first up. I know it's had that trial against Estriella people are going to like, but one was niggled and one was locked down. So, I couldn't disagree with Nico there.
Outstanding stuff. Puntingform.com is what Nico uses to do the form, so make sure you take a look at that one. They've got a new AI tool, so it's a simple way to line up all the ratings, and you can filter it down and choose what you like to add. And it's a nice little quick reference to the form, or you can go deep and have a look at all the sectional benchmarks at puntingform.com.au, so make sure you check that one out. Walt, Randwick on Saturday is starting to heat up. Silver Shadow Stakes is the first one we're going to have a look at here. 1,200 metres, looks a beauty. You've got Manal, $2.70 favourite. Amelia, $5 Z-Tongue, $5.50. Erno's Cube, $7. Halle at $10. Chateau Miraval at $12. And Bohinia at $13. Silmarillion is $21. And Sakima, $31. A couple of nice tongue twisters for me. But let's have a look at a couple of replays first. And Z-Tung, I'm going to call it, is the first one we're going to have a look at here.
So I had a bit of whinge about this, just not a whinge. Just a thing I look at is J-Mac Road Z-Tung here behind the leader, well backed. Who wins the race? Won yesterday. I think it builds Bonita Queen, is it?
Yep.
So Bonita Queen had a really soft time in front. Z-Tung had the right run, found the rail at Canterbury and pulls away really strongly late. Came through a decent maid sort of end of last prep and then won on a wet track. So it was a sort of progressive Godolphin style of win. But I love when J-Mac chases the ride on the horse they beat. Usually says that they've got a good opinion. So that was a really good win first up. Who's in this one?
This is Bohinia. Lee Curtis.
So this is down the middle of the track. So her run on debut at Canterbury was quite incredible. Sort of dragged back, then couldn't keep up, didn't know what she was doing. Tommy stood over her here out of the gates, and she sort of landed 1 out, 3 back, something like that, and the race was over from that point. But the Waller horse that ran second there had trialled up really well, heavily back, sort of $1.80. They very rarely miss. So I'd say that horse has got really good ability. Saw the gaps open up there. The Thursa and third, there's quite a promising horse too. It was a really strong maiden for Newcastle. And the reason why I think she can run well in this race in particular is because she's got the sort of 1,200, 1,250 metre grounding, and a lot of these horses don't. I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 horses first up in the race, 1,200. A lot of them coming out of Phillies races last prep where they sort of didn't get past that. Manal obviously got to a mile. Amina's won 2 races, both of them over the 1,000. She's trialled up like a rocket, but really sharp. So 1,200 first up could be a risk for her. Z-Tung as well's got that run and win under the belt. So I think Manal's really dangerous at $2.50 or $2.70, whatever it is, well drawn. She's the right horse, trialled well, done everything well. But I just I think this race usually presents well for horses that are set up and ready to go. And because there's quite a lot of speed here, you've got sort of Sat Stiletto, Shadow Miraval's really fast, Photographics on the inside will kick up, Howard will kick up on the inside. They definitely should be at least a solidly run 1,200 metre race, which you can just play into the hands of these horses that have got the fitness base. So whilst I think Manal's certainly the starting point and has to be favourite, yeah, you might get a little bit better Z-Tung. You do lose James McDonald and get Zach Lloyd, which is huge. And obviously Bohini is coming out of a maiden at Newcastle, so you're entitled to get your $15 or whatever you get about her. But I just think it's an interesting kick-off to the Princess Series where maybe the race fit horses have got to jump on the classier types coming through.
Out of my depth, this one, but Amelia, J-Max chosen to ride this one. You'd know a fair bit about that horse, Nico. Spent a lot of time in Melbourne.
Yeah, she's a real talent. It's an interesting kickoff because she does have the 1,000 metre form, but this is the start of the Princess Series, and it ends up, I think, in the Flight Stakes is probably the grand final for, a horse like Manal. That'd definitely be a grand final. Whereas Amina, this could be a real kickoff target race for her, first up over 1,200, because she doesn't seem like she has the scope to get out over much further. But I agree with Rob. She did trial very well. The Godolphin filly, Zatang, is it? She brings in one of the best last start ratings. So think the market will definitely have a big factor on that late. But yeah, Manal's the class horse. I thought she did trial quite well. Also, I was probably looking for the knocks in that trial, but she's not greatly off here as well. Although she did, run really well, and she won a Group 1 last campaign, I'm pretty sure, in the sires. She had to carry the big weight here, 58 kilos relative to 55 kilos of some of her key dangers. So first up, that might come into play late as well.
And I agree. That's exactly like so. The weight, and she probably is set for the mile race because she did sort of come into her own at the 1400 plus. Well, it looked that way. Obviously, ran well on the lead ups also. So hopefully, she's a little bit soft. Amina's got to run it out. So that was kind of my thinking. Gay's horses all look pretty steady, sort of one paced on pace horses. So that should mean the tempo is going to be solid. So yeah, maybe I'll probably end up backing Zetung, Borhenia, and then throwing Manal in a Quinella in case she gets over the top of them late just on class.
Outstanding. We're going to have a look at race 8, the Group 1 Winx Stakes. And this is another tricky one because the puzzle here is to figure out whose grand final it is. So you've got Fangirl, $2.25, J-Mac on board. You've got Via Sustina, $7, Zugotcha, $8, Riff Rocket, $9, Tropical Squall, $9, Samana, $14, Detonator Jack, $15, Just Fine, $26. You got a Tissue, $26, Zadozi, $31, Buckaroo, $51, and Zyrex. So stacked full of class this race, so it's a great contest. But how screwed down? I look at horses like Via Sustina, Fangirl, I think sort of Cox Plates. Riff Rocket, he's probably going to be on that similar path. So they're going to be a long way from their peak. And then you got horses like Tropical Squall, Samana that are really dangerous around the 1,400, 1,500 metre mark. And so is a horse like Zagotya. But, Walt, we're going to flick through 3 different replays. Yeah. Samana is the first trial that we're going to have a look at.
So ran second to Bella Nipotina last start. It was like 60 days ago, something like that. So to me, this trial syndicate, it's just said Mars gone. She's a good horse, but this is a race that's vulnerable, and I'm going to get her going. So a bit similar to Gatsby's last week. Just watch the last 100 here. So it's Just Fine on the inside. It gives her a little bit, and
away she goes.
Off she goes. So she's got the speed to sort of sit just behind him. I'll probably come back to it, but that's probably just the starting point to have a look at her. Who's in this trial?
This is Fangirl, Tom Kitten trial.
So Fangirl just in behind, Tom Kitten out the back. That's Zardozi in front, who's 30-1 in this race. Sort of just keep that in the back of your mind too. And they're the only two in this race.
Frank Gardy, Buckaroo for context. Buckaroo's in the race.
So Fangirl's obviously just choked down in behind doing nothing. Tom Kitt's come out and run well down the outside. It was a really slowly run trial. So you haven't learned a lot about Zardozi or Fangirl there for mine. Sort of Tom was the one who showed that he's got a bit of freshness in his legs. But there's no knock on Zardozi for them. 30-1 seems silly in comparison to Evans Fangirl.
This is Tropical Squall out in front.
So Tropical Squall, I thought she trialled like okay, but she to me is a little bit one pace. Via Sustina back towards the inside, sort of second last. I thought she trialled really well. And there's another one in this too, is there?
Communist Riff in Rocket. There and Hellhath. And
Riff Rocket down inside of Via Sustina. So I thought they both trialled very similarly.
Riff Rocket's really strong through the line here.
Yeah, and this was a little bit faster run trial than the other one, and he sort of towed himself into the race. It's a complete nightmare trying to work it out. You've got this Waller flying V, and but I sort of thought Samana's going to land right behind Tropical Squall and whoever else wants to roll forward. There's not a lot of other speed. She's got that residual fitness. I thought she's trialled like a rocket there. 1,400's fine. She obviously meets a horse like Fangirl probably like 5 kilos worse than she should, but very similar to the Princess Series and what Scoot was saying. This is not a target race for any of the Waller horses. I don't believe. Like he'll want to win, but all of them except for maybe Zugotcha. And I thought she trialled okay, but she's a bit of a I think she's vulnerable at this level. If she wins, she only just wins. She's a horse that'll be in a similar spot to Samana. I'm just happy to go with Samana against her. I don't think Tropical Squall can fight them off here unless it's just a masterful ride where he sort of controls, takes off at the 800 and holds on or something. I think Riff Rocket is going to run like a rocket, but it'll be in a very awkward draw. Where does he get to? Sort of Nash, I doubt that he's going to bang him. So Fangirl's going to run well. She's going to run well, but she's even money. It just seems silly. And Via Sustina is going to run really well too, but she's drawn awkwardly as she as well, I think. So, it's sort of a matter of how close can they get. And I think a horse like Samana can rip home and in under 34. and they've got to chase her down. So I just sort of kept coming back to her. Thought she was a really, really good each way bet here, with a lot of question marks over a lot of the others. I just feel that she's going to run top 3 more often than not in this race. And if things go her way, she pinches a break, she might just steal the race. So, plenty of angles, great race.
Yeah, this gives me a headache, this race. I don't know where to start or finish. There's no end ties in the race, so adds further confusion to me. I can't get a good feel on this race at all. It's straight into the bin. I'd rather maybe play outside the market as you sort of are, and spec horses, as crazy as it sounds, like a Tissues.
Well, Zardosi's a silly price. What price is Vicestina? She's double figures, is she? Or she probably will be.
$7.
You know, if she trialled well enough there to be, she'll probably get out to, I'd say. You know, a Tissues, at least not a silly price. It's a good race. You just hope Fangirl isn't at her best or finds a bit of trouble, and it opens the race right up. And I can't see a horse like Just Fine winning. I can't see Tropical Score. I can't see a one-paced horse winning this race.
No. Boys?
TK, you got anything? These are the big ones.
She's ripping me up. No, sorry, I can't help.
It's a race of plenty of intrigue, because you got, I would say, the hope, probably our next, if we're going to look at the next weight for age star, I think a lot of people are probably hoping it's a horse like Riff Rocket, the 3-year-old on the up. But I don't know if he's going to be that, but we're going to find out where he sort of sits on Saturday and where a lot of that form sits, especially with Zardosi here as well. And then Via Sistina, bar Pride of Jenny, she's probably sticking her hand right up there, and Fangirl's probably number 2, if not number 1, of a few of her performances throughout last year. So, yeah, you're going to this is going to paint a good picture towards the spring. If Fangirl replicates what she did first up in the Apollo Stakes here, it would be no betting. She looked like Winx winning that race. It's just whether she had an injury last campaign. I'm not sure what it was, but that's why they tipped her out and didn't push on. So it's just how she sort of come back from that. The trials haven't been the greatest guide, but you'd probably give her a tick. But you probably wouldn't give her a double tick, would you? You wouldn't be super keen off the jump outs or off the trials, I should say. So
market will tell the tale.
Market will tell the tale. Yeah,
she was well fancied in that Apollo, I reckon. The camp really.
She's 220 out to 280. That might be a bit of a sign. Via Sistina, I think she's probably one of the more interesting horses of the spring. Detonator Jack did trial very well, and he might be the one here that's sort of cranked first up. But yeah, tricky race to work out. I'm just sort of hoping from a racing fan point of view that Riff Rocket measures up, and Via Sistina as well, because that will make good watching for the spring in a few of the weight for age races.
And you can never really work out Wallers. Obviously, J-Mac gets his pick to a certain degree. K-Mac on Via Sistina, is he just put it on to sort of give it a spin around and look after her because he's a bit more passive, and he's put Nash on Riff Rocket. Trying to work it out, it's quite interesting because he chops and changes jockeys so often on horses. They don't really get to build an association, but yeah, he's a tough one to work out, Waller.
You'd just like a bug in his bedroom or his phone tap, Mr. Chris Waller, wouldn't you?
No comment.
I was leading you again there and didn't quite get what I wanted. Racingwatch.com.au is what you want. John's analysis there. So he's a master punter for a reason, and he's got the Telegram and he's got the Discord channel. So plenty of crazy stuff going on in there at the moment. Wild and wacky and wonderful ideas about betting, life, conspiracy theories. It really has something for everyone. So make sure you check out the chat room at racingwatch.com.au, and you can get lost in there for hours, as some of them quite happily do. Years, in fact. So it's a funny little place. I'm going to have a look at Doomben race 8, and let's have a look at the market first. Boom Talk's a favourite, $270. Manhood $480. Spirit Queen $6. Plundering $7. Jayanthi $10. Margarelle is $11, and Kanazawa $11. Replay I like here is Boom Talk. First up, I thought it was an absolute cracking run here. It's in the purple colours. It was just sort of sent out for a barrier trial, and took ages to sort of get to the outside here, but it was a day it was pretty much impossible to sort of make any ground down the outside, and this horse just finished like an absolute steam train, and jumping here now from 1,000 to 1,200 is absolutely perfect, and his last 100 metres through the line was absolutely spot on. He was set a really, really big, tough task here, and the other horse I like is back in the green here, and it's a horse called Jayanthi. And I think it'll be suited back up to the 1200. It was a dual nominated runner also, and they've opted to go to the 1200 metre tougher race. And this horse is just in rare form, and it probably wants more of a soft track, but I just love the way it sort of dug in for the last sort of 150 metres there, and gives me the indication that 1200 third up is going to be a little bit troublesome. I would have loved them to claim on that runner, 55 kilos. I'd love to see an apprentice or 1.5 kilos come off there, because it may lack a little bit of the class of a horse like Boom Talk, but if it had a 7 or 8 kilo swing, I could see it sort of upsetting Boom Talk. But $2.70 Boom Talk, they bet $3. I think they might bet $3 because it's going to map right back. Barrier 9 could be a bit sticky. I spoke to Donnie off air about it, and it just needs even luck and a clear run at them. And I think it should be winning. There looks like there's plenty of speed in the race up front, so it should set up pretty well. You've got Plundering on speed, Manhood, Marjarell's an on-speed runner, and so is Kanazawa, but I think this is a target race for Boom Talk, and yeah, its figures backed up what the eye sort of showed me first up. And if you go back and watch the full replay of Boom Talk, it was just given an absolute barrier trial, which was a bit disappointing because I backed it last start and it was a big drifter, and I went again at the death, and I'm chasing my money here, but I think it's one of the best in the day. It's a Doomben. Don't know if you ever had a look at it.
I just like the horse Major L. Just seems a big price. I'll just go back and sort of beat Tectonic Plate last trip over the same sort of trip. I think that's good form, even though it's sort of country New South Wales form, Ipswich form first up. It's one of these Class 6 tough races. You love giving yourself hard assignments. But outside draw, he's got no rider. He might be going to scratch it. It's got outside draw there and it's no rider, so it's probably going to be scratch Major L.
Herb was the other interesting one. They've put Callow on it, but he's back to 1,200 metres. And
scratched.
Is it scratched, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's probably just a week late with that horse. It would have been good on a heavy track last week, old Herb, but I thought the drying ground might be a bit against it as well. But poor old Herb's come out there as well. Nico and DK, I doubt you've flown as far north as Brisbane, but
haven't done the Class 6 set weights at Doomben there, DK.
You'd like to, though.
I'll get around to it.
Me and Nico got Will Gordon last week. Where was that one? Was it Mildura or Swan Hill? I can't remember. It was so long ago.
Warwick Nabil.
Yeah. Warwick Nabil. Slaughter. The Will Gordon slaughter.
Awesome.
That was just off the back of Pinstripe.
Oh, wouldn't have been worse than mine. Race 1 out Reardon. Danush. Go and watch a replay of it. Oh, my God.
Yeah, it wasn't a happy hunting ground, Warwick Nabil. I thought after watching race 1, I thought this is great. Just back every leader, and then I backed the leader.
Well, it only won because mine got held up for 600 metres.
They went 9 seconds to the furlong in one of the 1,000-metre races. So
there was a race yesterday at Warwick Farm where the thing of Annabelle snuck up the fence and won. You went, oh, geez, that was unlucky. Then you went back, geez, that was. I reckon there was 6 certainty beats in the same race. I've never seen anything like it.
And then Zachy Lloyd playing Dodgem cars.
There was
in race 7.
Latham got put actually into the running rail, bent the running rail, and there was no suspension, and looked like either Nash or Jet Stanley nearly killed him. And then Zach went bang on the point of the turn, absolutely hammered Rachel, then flattened her again. A little reprimand. I think he's like 14 reprimands and 1 suspension. So he's had 14 reprimands and 1 suspension in that time. So I don't know what the story is there, but he's been very lucky lately, young Zach.
If he was a punter, I'd love his account because it sounds like green lit.
No comment.
I'm not sure.
No comment.
Good on him though. Barge and the punters.
You mean a green lit account you can get on for a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's what you.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
That could be taken a few different ways.
No, that's what I meant.
Yeah, and he's not a punter.
No, not gambling.
Not a punter.
Don's best last week, Miss Middle Park, heavy track, got him, but he's pretty confident this week.
G'day, boys. Morals, not novels this week. Race 3 Doomben, out Anchorage. Should piss in. There's nothing else in the race. It should lead. Orman on. Very hard to beat. Good luck.
Jimmy Orman.
Lucky to get the race number out of him.
$2.20.
Holy cow.
Yeah, he's
lucky
it looks like he's got a new car as well.
Did you get the name of the horse? Our Anchorage. We got
Our
that
Anchorage.
out.
Race 3, number 8, Our Anchorage.
Should lead, should piss in.
Nice white four-wheel drive in the driveway. It looks like a new car for Donny.
So horse is going extra well. 2,400 back to 2,200. Yeah, it looks extremely well placed. Absolutely.
Could be a big day for James Orman, but probably needs it. He's probably not riding as
he's hard to catch for mine, but this one's hard to mess up from gate 1, and it does look the only leader. And Uncle Bjorn's horses are starting to hit the line again.
TopSport Steam, they were good last week, as I said, 2 from 4. So if you're an avid follower, you finally got rewarded there. And Nico's been chiming into the TopSport markets early by the look at this. 450 at 550, Moonee Valley Race 9, number 8, extra 2. So taking the 550,
No
knocked
fractions.
the price off. And then
Nico's bet.
now it's into 390. So you've knocked everyone's price off, Nico.
It wasn't my bet, but someone too strong there.
Race 7, number 10 is Walt's jurisdiction here. NCAP. 150 at $17 in the Show County. And
Yeah.
Is Kamachi in this same race?
Which one?
Is this
You got-
Kamachi?
this is the Jolie Star, our Kobe Sun, Southport Tycoon. I think there's only 80% of this field's first up, so this is an easy one. But
This is a
it's one of
beauty,
our
isn't it?
favourite horses, isn't it, old NCAP? He's been a bit unlucky his whole life. Gate 1, Jay Collett, he doesn't mind the rail. So, it's a big price, 16 to 1.
Massive price.
And Gary Portelli's had a bit of life at the end there lately, and I'm not a big yellow brick man. Yellow brick airman's tough. Southcote Tycoon first up, wide draw. Our Kobe Sun, it's good each way bet, I guess.
Tricky little race.
Nah, Jolie Star will win.
Jolie Star.
Just too classy, you think?
Yeah, flying. It's been the best of the wild trials leading in. If it was in the Winx, I think it would be a chance off the way it's trialled. So it should be winning 1,200 metres first up. And I reckon it could be the horse that they're trying to get the Everest audition for off the way it's trialled. Won the 1,200 metres fresh last campaign. So she may be the one that's really looking to make a statement early in the spring.
Morpheville race 5, number 10 is Name Dude. Haven't got to this one yet. $126.
Don't know anything about the 25 to 1 shot at Morpheville Race 5.
We won at Mildura the other day.
Yeah,
didn't
I know about this.
it? Yeah, this was. I train it. I train the bloody thing.
Dan Kelly.
Yeah. No, so he started belting it at the 700 the other day to get it to the line at Mildura, but it's an honest stone horse. No, my dude.
It's against the mighty Lotterock in that race.
Oh, right.
So won't be beating us.
Might be beating you. Doomben race 7, number 4, and this is Bohemian Lad. And this horse is definitely ringing bells for me, and I'd say that would go extremely close, but I haven't done that in much depth. But,
Race 7.
Yeah, I'd say it'll go very,
Arena
very
Sophia's
close.
been unlucky, 1,200 as far as it wants. Finally draws a gate. It's gone to Golden. It used to be
Bohemian
Gerald.
Lad?
Gerald's Arena Sophia. Nothing else rings the bell there.
Yeah, I'd say it'll take beating their Bohemian Lad, but some interesting bets early at TopSport. But interesting time in wagering, and it's good to see all the good horses coming back with the Silver Shadow, the Winx Stakes, and Nico's just sort of half declared Jolly Stars is maybe the next best thing. And we haven't heard much about the Everest this year.
Well, how can you? There's about 4 horses that you'd be thinking about getting spots, and I think a couple have already locked in, haven't they? The rest have all retired, and even a horse like Bellany Patina and those, like, gee, she's had such a long, hard prep. Like, it's going to be a big task to get them to peak.
Her back.
Yeah, we haven't really seen any top-line sprinters come back yet, have we? Unless I'm missing something. Those ones last week were pretty steady, so I don't know where they're going to get them from, but you'd love a few to be jetted in from Tokyo or something.
The Moya is where they're going to see a lot of them.
Lady of Camelot. And
Yeah, Lady of Camelot. I Wish I Win. Hayasugi. There's a few others that are heading there. So that's going to be a hot race. That's not next week, but the week after. Next week's the Memsey down here. So that might be the start. And then Gear Kick had a good trial behind Lady of Camelot. And I think he's going to stay in Sydney by the sounds of it. He'll be in the Everest third up. So, I Wish I Win 2 weeks away.
Estrella is in that race too. Bellany Patina's in the market. That's interesting. Bold Bastille, $11 into $8. That's Nico's money. Coleman, geez, he's bustling. Interesting. Caballas has tried up. So that could be a interesting race. Private Eye, Jay Ford on for the prep. That's an interesting one. Chain of Lightning.
The New South Wales
The
media
horse that I was going to back the other day was Straight Charge, and then I see it spelling, so it's cast. So I was lucky I didn't do my money cold there. But
Nothing there.
trying to find an angle for the Everest is not easy at the moment.
No, the PR team up in New South Wales, the media team, the gag will be lifted and they'll start pumping it soon, but they're just not allowed to talk just yet.
No, it's lost its sparkle for me ever since Damien Flower lost his spot.
It's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see that they're going to award it Group 1 status, I hear, and from Aaron Morrison yesterday. And
what about the
then
angle,
they're going to get All-Star Mile, going to get Group 1 status. So if I was Jason Scott up in Queensland, putting my Queensland racing hat on because we're a Queensland racing show, You just kick up for the Magic
Putting
Millions.
Putting
Wouldn't
your
you want the
blackmail
Magic
suit
Millions
on, you mean? Yeah. Well,
to be
you're
a
going to
Group
get that.
One?
Yeah, well,
Well, because these restricted races, it's a bit of a mockery of the pattern
Mate.
anyway. So why wouldn't you just kick up and say we want the
we
Magic
want a
Millions
sales
too?
race to be a Group 1. Well, what's the
What's the
difference?
difference?
Yeah, there's not
What's
much
the
difference, is there? It's basically an invitation race, isn't it?
I've left this for the last end of the show because no one really cares anyway, do they, DK?
No, actually, no one does care. I laughed. I saw someone wrote, no one cares. No one. That was the first comment under it. And it was pretty spot on, but like, no one cares.
Yeah.
No one cares.
We've got a couple of people that I get a kick out of the comments in the YouTube channel. So there's a couple of guys that are George Moore, Daniel Robinson.
People care about
I like that.
talking about
Yeah.
it, but no one cares about the outcome.
No, they don't. No, you're right.
I reckon 80% of like recreational punters, which are the only ones that matter, sitting at home, probably think the Magic Millions is a Group 1.
Yeah, they would too. Yeah. You blokes still with us or are you going home?
Yeah, still there.
Still Airscape. The Queensland Racing Show was just going for a bit. That was all.
Yeah.
Used to that.
I thought the All-Star Mile was evens to disappear.
No, he's got exciting announcements, Aaron Morrison says, next couple of days. Exciting announcement.
What, a prize money cut? Is that where they're getting
Right.
the
He said
2 or 3
exciting.
million?
That'd be
He
good.
said, we'll make an announcement. He said exciting announcement. So
It's going to be a Class 6 set weights.
anyway,
Should be
My
interesting.
tip, I reckon it could be like 8 slots, and they have it like best of the best. That's what they're going to try and do with it, I reckon.
okay. Well, there you go.
That'd be-
You heard it first from Nico.
See what
Good
happens.
Well, I'm going to end the show before we get sued, but for saying something silly. We'll see you next week, and hopefully you guys back a couple of
Yeah,
winners
yeah.
this weekend.
Prepare something special for next week, Scoot.
What's
big
that?
day
What's
next
next week?
Friday. Big day. Huh? Yeah,
What's happening?
yeah. The big. I'm on the countdown. 7 days till the milestone. Big 5-0 for DK.
5-0.
Look out. Oh, mate. I'm feeling every bit of it too. I don't know how I'm
How
supposed
many
to feel.
weeks
I'm
are
like,
you out of action after that? My old man's 50th went for a month. So I reckon,
and it's going to be
yours
a
will
rolling
close.
series of events. I've done that, yes. Yeah, it's not one big weekend, but I don't know how I'm supposed to feel going into 50, really. Anyway, and my car's
You'll be
to
right, DK.
look forward to it. Look out.
Yeah, it's Deanie.
This
next
game,
Friday.
you never know. You never know what's around the corner.
No,
you
you
could be
don't.
flying.
Especially when you hit 50.
So I'll have to have a look in the post for the invite. Can't wait for the big piss up. DK shout. See you next week.